Welcome back. David Hertel in for Elias. Well, Bernard Drainville, our education minister, laid out his 5-point catch-up plan following the teacher strike last year. And so 5 main points: help for tutoring, help for summer courses, support for nonprofits, stay-in-school programs, more money for French classes for temporary immigrants, where did that one come from? And also more money if people choose to want to go back to school during March break. So those are the highlights. Always nice to have a teacher's reaction to this catch-up plan, and we are very lucky to have one on the Big Five regularly. You know her, Catherine Hogan, high school teacher at Westwood Senior High in Hudson. Hey, Catherine.
Good morning, David. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much for taking the time. So, first of all, how was back to school this week?
So I am on leave until the beginning of term 3.
I did not know that.
So, yes.
Okay.
So I have a few more weeks, and then I'm really looking forward to being back with the students. But my colleagues all went back this week, and everything is back to normal, I think, already. Yes.
Okay, good.
I think my counterparts in the French sector are very happy to be back, I think, because they've been away a long time from their students.
So you saw Bernard Drainville's press conference, I'm sure, or read about it. What do you think about his catch-up plan?
I mean, obviously, I have a little bit of mixed feelings. I feel, at least he's willing to invest money in the remediation, but he wasn't willing to invest this money initially.
Right.
So I think this money is certainly the salaries that were withheld during the strike that he's now just putting back in, which seems a little bit of backpedaling, which didn't need to happen had he just been forthcoming during negotiations.
It was very interesting, like in the reactions, like you had the head of the FAE saying, well, this is something we actually needed before and we're going to need in the years to come. Help for tutoring, support for summer classes, more support for the nonprofits, for the stay-in-school program. So isn't this like opening the door for demands teachers are going to continue to have moving forward?
Yes, I think absolutely. And the $42 million that is geared towards the nonprofit groups is very important. As Joe Ortona said yesterday, all of our volunteers are needed for success. We rely on them. So I'm so happy about these initiatives. But again, I just wish they could have come during our period of negotiation.
Absolutely. And so since the deal has been struck, and I know it has yet to be ratified by all the unions, but you were talking about having discussions with your colleagues and seeing, on the French sector and on the English sector. Obviously, it was much worse on the French sector side than the English sector side. But at the end of the day, do you feel that it worked? You know what I'm saying? The unlimited strikes, the partial strikes, this whole strategy, do you think we really needed to go to this point?
Yeah, I think we did this time round because I think that we absolutely needed the attention of the government. I think education is worth investing in, and they weren't willing to make those meet those demands. So I think that the teachers did do the right thing in the striking, and I think they will do the right thing in recuperation and in the remediation that the students are going to need in order to get them back on track. Unfortunately, Drainville has laid this on the backs of teachers again, but teachers will do so. And certainly the teachers that lost income in December, I think will want these opportunities in order to recoup some of their lost wages this year. So if he is willing to invest in some of these recuperations and remediational programs, I think he will find staff willing to take on these challenges. Yes.
Because that was my next question, because what I read, and again, I haven't seen the fine print of this deal, but that it's retroactive to April of 2023.
Right.
So teachers are gonna get a nice bump, but at the same time, I mean, when Bernard Drainville says, okay, so we're gonna offer tutoring, and I'm gonna ask current teachers, retired teachers, and people that are studying to become teachers to come in. Same thing for the summer classes or working during March break. Don't we have a shortage? I know it's at a lesser degree on the English side, but where are we going to find all these teachers to do all this extra work?
Yes, we absolutely do have a shortage, which is going to become more prominent in the next couple of years. Unfortunately, in this situation, I think Monsieur Drainville knows that he has teachers where he needs them. He knows that they've lost wages. He knows that for many people, this was incredibly difficult through December, and that people will be looking for opportunities in order to recoup. So I think it will, a note will go out asking anyone who's interested to put their name forward, and then they'll go from there. And so they'll start with current teachers, and they'll see how many they can get. Then they'll move to our retired staff. Then they'll move to some of our very competent student teachers who are looking for opportunities such as this. Again, David, it's all positive, but it's just sad that it didn't happen,
right,
in a different fashion.
Absolutely. No, I think a lot of people now are wondering, picking up all these pieces.
Yes.
Did we have to do all that? And again, I'm not putting it on you and on the teachers. I'm just saying, there's been some articles, and maybe you've seen some of them, more in the French media, writing about, okay, shouldn't we maybe think about negotiating differently? Like, for example, in Ontario, apparently, and I haven't verified all the aspects of this, but it can't get to this point. At one point, if the government and the public sector workers can't get to a deal, there's automatically an arbitrator, binding arbitration, and it's an independent arbitrator that ends it. We don't have to get to this type of extent. What do you think about that?
Well, binding arbitration is never really where we want to go.
Yeah, nobody wins. Nobody really wins, right?
Nobody wins. Yeah. And the kids don't win.
Right.
So we want to have sort of more open dialogue with the government. And I think that this is a good crossroads for them to understand that we're coming out of a pandemic. We are dealing with kids who are shouldering much more these days in terms of mental health, in terms of stress. And I think it's a good opportunity for the government to understand that this is now a time when we need to invest more, and to listen to the teachers, to listen to the people who are in the schools who are saying we need more services available for these students. And I think going forward, hopefully this will begin new negotiations and new ability to communicate with the government what our needs are.
And finally, and I know you can't give me details that haven't been made public, but one of the big issues of all this was working conditions. We know the money part, but we don't. Do you get the sense from you and your colleagues that there's been significant advances on the working conditions front?
I think it's going to take a little bit of time to see as it plays out in the classroom, David. So I think we're going to need to have some time to see where the money is going to go and how it's going to support the kids, and if it's going to mean more bodies in the school. And in terms of professionals, we need those services available to us and more availability, because students are on long waiting lists to be tested or to have the programs and support that they need. So the more people we can hire, the better. So
we have yet to see if, that example, right, where teachers are stuck with like a class of 30 with 10 students that have learning challenges and not enough support to deal with that. That example that's been going around for a year now.
Sometimes we can see some movement on that. Sometimes we'll hear that an allocation has been given to a school to up the allocation for staff members. So they reevaluate the allocations, and they might find, another 0.5 of a position. So they may be able to hire mid-year. And we do see that. That does happen sometimes, where we're able to break up a certain class and perhaps make it into two sections with another person.
Catherine, terrific insight. Really appreciate your time, especially that you're on sabbatical, and enjoy the rest of your sabbatical.
Thank you so much, David.
Take care. Catherine Hogan, high school teacher at Westwood Senior High in Hudson.